Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this Committee of Adjustment hearing to order. Just before we get started this evening, I'm going to go over the committee's, the hearings protocols for tonight. Tonight, we only have one application for one property that we'll be hearing. Just a couple housekeeping items for those in attendance here. If you can please put your cell phones on mute or on silent mode or turn them off, would be greatly appreciated. Anyone addressing questions, please address them to the chair and not directly to the person being questioned. The first order of business will be to ask if there's any conflicts of interest with any of the applications this evening by the committee members. A request will be made for any deferrals or withdrawals of applications. Is the applicant here this evening? Then following that, the Secretary Treasurer will read out each application noted on the agenda with a brief description and staff recommendation. The applicant or the agent for the applicant will then be asked to come forward. There's a podium on the right. They will have an opportunity to add any additional comments that they wish to at that time. Members of the committee will then ask the applicant any questions that they might have, followed up by any members of the public that wish to speak to an application. Any members of the public wishing to speak to an application will be asked to come forward, state their name and address for the record, try to limit their comments to 10 minutes, and must present all questions and comments that are pertinent to that application in that time frame. Persons making a presentation will not necessarily be allowed to return again to speak to the same application. Following all comments, the applicant will be afforded some closing comments if desired. The committee will then present a decision in the form of a motion. The motion will be discussed and voted upon. If the vote is tied, the motion will be defeated and a new motion will be made until a decision has been reached. Notices of decision will be provided to those persons that leave their name and address in writing with the Secretary Treasurer. For those in attendance, there's a sheet at the back of the room for this purpose. For anyone watching online, you can email our Secretary Treasurer at TAYA@portcolborne.ca, or you can call 905-228-8124 immediately following the hearing and leave a message requesting the same. Those are the protocols for this evening. I'll just ask if there's any conflicts with the application we have this evening from any committee members. Not seeing any. I'm assuming there's no request for deferrals or withdrawals of application this evening. So with that, Madam Secretary, the first application, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the agenda tonight, we have one minor variance application. Notice of the application was circulated to the public on December 23rd. The required agencies received notice of the application on December 9th. A recommendation report for this application was prepared by planning staff and made publicly available on January 10th. All correspondence received by January 10th was addressed in the recommendation report. Those interested can review the recommendation report online on the city's website or in person at City Hall. Those interested may also contact planning staff in person, by email, or over the phone to obtain a copy of the report. Accommodations for alternative methods of viewing or obtaining the recommendation report are available upon request. Please note that the zoning bylaw currently in effect is the City of Port Colborne zoning bylaw 6575/30/18 as amended, which will henceforth be referred to as the zoning bylaw. Our only application tonight is minor variance application A0125PC for the lands municipally known as 1433 Fire Lane 1, located in the Lakeshore Residential Zone as established in the zoning bylaw. The agent Colleen Potter, on behalf of the owner Frank DeCosmio, are requesting relief from the provisions of the zoning bylaw to permit the construction of a new accessory building, notwithstanding the following: that an accessory building height of 9.4 meters be permitted, whereas a maximum of 6 meters is required. Given the information in the recommendation report, planning staff recommend application A0125PC be granted. As the application is minor in nature, it is appropriate for the development of the site, and is desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, and is desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan. That concludes the correspondence for this application.
Thank you. Is the applicant or the agent for the applicant here this evening?
They're in the Zoom room. I will move them in.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
We can. Good evening.
I-
If you have video, we don't have the video. Oh, there we are.
There you go.
Perfect.
Right light there.
Since you're online, you don't wish to withdraw or defer your application this evening?
I do not.
Okay, so with that, the floor is yours if you wish to add any further comments or to the application.
No, I think this project's been in planning for quite some time now. It's set back from the property boundaries substantially. It's on a very large parcel. We've gone through all the emotions with the Conservation Authority, Niagara Region Septic, and municipality. So I think we've covered a lot of bases here on this project. So really just looking forward to moving forward. Everyone will accept it tonight.
Very good, thank you. Do any committee members have any questions of the applicant this evening?
Huge property.
Angie, do you have any questions? Okay. I think I seen your lips move and say no, so.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
trying to get my audio on. No, I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Is there any members of the public that wish to speak to this application this evening? Sir, if you would, you can come up to the podium on my right, your left. There's a little gray bar in front there, and there should be a red button in the middle. You can just push that button, and the floor is yours. Just your name and address for the record, and the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening. My name's Rick Burton, and I'm at 1499 Fire Lane 2, so directly adjacent to the property in question. I submitted a couple of, probably 3 days ago, I believe it was, or maybe it was yesterday, I submitted in written form my concerns. So I don't know if you want me to go over all that. I don't have them top of my head.
You can hit the highlights if you like. I did see the email. I'm assuming the other committee members have read it. I see everyone shaking their heads, so if you want to hit some high points, you can hit that. Your email will be entered into the record for this application.
Okay, it was a hard copy that I brought to Ted.
Yeah, we got it emailed to us, so.
Okay. I don't remember all the specific points on there, but I did come up with an additional one that I didn't realize. If you know where I'm on Fire Lane 2, and when you're exiting Fire Lane 2 by car, you look forward across those lands where the building is proposed to look at the traffic coming down Fire Lane 1, because they both meet. That's how we observe that there's no cars coming the other way. When we turn right on Weaver Road, if the building's in that particular manner, in that height, certainly, we can't see across to see that oncoming traffic through the side yard. So the window of opportunity to see if there's a car coming is cut down by at least 50%. In that way, you could only see it after you turn right onto Weaver Road going north, and then you'd have to look to the left. And if there's already a car on the bridge, you're looking to the left and not seeing the car on the bridge, and vice versa. So it's a traffic consideration as well. The other thing is we don't understand. Well, one of those high points. We find that it doesn't fit the style of the neighborhood, certainly. I mean, the tallest building in the area is only 2 stories, 20-some feet high, and they're up on the mountain, on the dunes. So that appears nice, and then when you put all the other buildings down below on the flat, let's say, are 2 stories or less. So that makes a nice appearance going out, but 3 stories is just out of the character of the neighborhood. The other thing is, of course, it's obstruction just for the aesthetics of coming down Fire Lane 2 at the end. You're going to face right into the back of this huge building. Additionally, I don't understand why a garage, which has 8-foot doors, this has a 30-foot height. And as of a few days ago, I wasn't aware. In fact, I was told there was no building permit applied for yet. And I don't understand how you can grant a variance in height to a building you haven't seen yet. And I could be mistaken because my neighbor showed me there was a plan online of some description of the building. And by the appearance, and that was my other point, is the upstairs certainly looks like it could be accommodations, not storage, as was noted. And of course, the access to a septic tank doesn't make sense for garage. As far as I know, cars don't use septic facilities. It's got a very strange car. I don't know. So 30 feet is out of character for the neighborhood. It's I won't say eyesore. It's a very beautiful building, but it's substantially different from the aesthetics that are there. Other than that, there's probably a few points that I can't come to mind on that note. Okay, and my neighbor as well, also adjacent at 1498 Fire Lane. It has the same sort of thing. The other thing is that if it is, I did remember one more point. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. If it is accommodations above, right now we have a minor problem with the noise that occurs on that property with the sports games going on in the summertime, but we understand he's enjoying his property, has his friends and neighbors over, that's quite fine. But adding a building of that size, to me, shows that there could be a lot of residents being added, maybe just on the weekends, but I'm sure the noise is going to increase substantially if that's the case. I think that's about all I've got. I'm sure there's some other points in the note I can't recall at the moment.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
Is there any other members of the public that wish to speak to this application? You good? Okay, and there's no one online, right? Okay, so with that, Gary?
Yes, just want to speak to either the agent or our planning staff. To the gentleman's point, when you're on that narrow bridge, you certainly have a stop sign, and the right-of-way is to the people on Weaver there. So I guess on that one, would staff have looked at site triangle? Because I certainly don't think that was an issue from my observation on the ground. But is that something that, because it's circulated, that would have been looked at?
Gary, button.
There should be.
I could be mistaken, but I'm 90% sure.
Okay. All right, I could have sworn there is one, but yeah.
I'll go to the owner there. You wanted to add something?
I was just going to say, well, that is a road that comes out onto Weaver. So if there is not a stop sign, there should be. And I think that bridge is quite small and narrow, and people would have to approach it very slowly. And then when they get out, they're not just going to pull out on Weaver Road. I think there's a bit of confusion as to what we're doing here tonight. This is for the garage that's set in the middle of this property, so just off to the east of the middle, I guess, set far back from that Fire Lane Road. And it's only a two-story structure. There's many two-story garages on the fire lanes. So so I don't think it's going to impact traffic whatsoever. And it's just two-story garage. The confusion might be with, if it's one of the drawings you're looking at, there's a future house proposed, and that's what the septic's for. Not related to this garage, why we're here tonight.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Dave?
I'm just going to look it up, but correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't NPCA say that they could not have, this building itself could not be habitable because you can't have a septic with this building where it's located? Did I not read that? Or in one of the commenting authorities, did they not say that because?
Yeah, it might be related to floodplain.
Yes.
In that case.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
So it can't be lived in, and you can't have septic for it.
No, the septic is shown on this overall site plan is related to the house.
Yeah.
That's proposed in the future.
Yeah, but I thought that the NPCA, through the chair, the NPCA commented that there can't be a septic system dedicated to the new building. Like the septic for the house that's proposed is okay, but there can't be a septic for the building that you're looking for the minor variance in height for. Can't accommodate living quarters and a septic. You can only have it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The septic was never proposed for that building. It's proposed for the house in the future.
Yep. Okay. I'm just going through it right now to see if I can, I'll take a look real quick, but I thought I read that.
Can I continue to comment, or?
No. You had your time. Anybody else got any questions? Angie, do you have any questions? So I keep forgetting about you because you're a little tiny block on the screen in front of me.
Yeah, just count yourself lucky. No, I have no questions at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, let me give you a minute there, Dave, to see if you can find it. The only thing I see in here is it just says that the accessory dwelling is non-inhabitable and does not contain any dwelling units.
That's right.
That's all that I see in the NPCA report.
Yeah.
And all openings in the ground floor of the building are to be located above the regulatory elevation of the Lake Erie flood elevation of 176.8 meters. So the floor will have to be above that elevation for the garage. Okay. Anything else you wanted to add, or good?
No, that's all.
Yeah.
Gary, you good?
I'm good.
Does the owner, the applicant there, have anything further they'd like to add at this time?
No, I do not. All good.
Thank you. Does anyone have a recommendation? Gary?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. With respect to application A01-25PC, the land's legally known as Concession 1, part of Lot 9, part Water Lot Plan 778, part of Lots 1 through 3, part Private Reserve and Sand Beach, Parts 1 and 2 on Reference Plan 59R 5739, formerly in the municipality of Humberson, currently in the city of Port Colborne, located in the Lakeshore Residential Zone. The application A01-25PC be granted. 1, it is minor in nature. 2, it is appropriate for the development of the site. 3, it is desirable in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. 4, it is desirable in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan.
Thank you. Seconder to that?
I would
Angie?
second that.
Very good. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
That'll be carried unanimously. Thank you. And to the applicant or the owner there, thank you. There is a 20-day waiting period for that to go through for any appeals, but following that, you'll be cleared this particular hurdle.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good meeting.
Other business, you have the schedule on here again. We did that one, right? For sure.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Chair, thank you, members.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, all good. Through the chair to the chair, one more final time for the schedule. I hope we noticed that we made a typo on the amended version of the copy that we moved last month regarding the date, and we just wanted to fix it going forward on the record so that we have all of the committee dates aligned and perfectly scheduled for 2025.
What was the error?
I want to say November, but that's all.
Okay.
Through the chair to the chair, I believe it might have been in February. I think because of the day in which Remembrance Day falls, because of when the council meeting I think it coincided with when Committee of Adjustment was, because it's on the Tuesday this year, and it was because council's on a Tuesday and also we're on a Wednesday, we had to change the days, so.
Okay. Let me see.
So that would be moved one day to the 13th
Yes. All right.
of November?
Sorry. Through the chair to Member Bruno, yes, it would be, I believe, moved to the 13th.
Okay, so our meeting that month will be on a Thursday.
You got it.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So with that, gonna move her in a seconder. Question.
Kay, I was just wondering, I looked this up online too, and I was just wondering, is this for the purpose also of members of the general public to look at? Because it doesn't have it doesn't have the time for those folks. I mean, we know the time.
Two things. First thing, through the chair to Member Bruno. We can definitely include the time on that going forward, I think. That's definitely a good point because we do have people who ask us when the committee meetings generally are. I think if we're making a schedule for the entire year, it makes sense to also include when the time and where the location's going to be, if that's not already included there.
Right.
If you want to bring this to committee for a fourth time, I can definitely do that, or we can just upload it for next month, put on the agenda for the record, and then we can just kind of call it there.
Well, I think if we're good before we move this, we can just make that as an adder to it.
Yeah.
The other thing that we used to have was application deadlines.
Oh,
Like there used to be like a whole schedule, say, okay, for this hearing, here's the
Yeah.
deadline to get on this.
So through the chair to the chair, wait, we'll just
Oh, sorry,
sorry.
yes.
All good. That's actually a change I made at the beginning of this year. The first day we came back is on the website now. There's a little drop that says, there's a little drop down that says, when do I need to have my application submitted by? It won't be on the schedule, but it's on the website. And then if you click that drop down, it'll say like January 15th, for example, and then deadline to get your application in by. It won't be under that tab, but I can show you after. It'll just say like, let's say March 13th, for example, off the top of my head, I know it's January 22nd. So they'll just tell you when you need to have your application by. And it's the end of the day. I mean, I can add times on there as well if you'd like, but we start doing that going forward.
Okay, yeah, so as far as the meeting time, we can just make that amendment, make it part of our approval today. If everyone's good with that.
One more thing I want to add, sorry. Through the chair to the chair, I also realized I mentioned that I said Remembrance Day was in February. It's not in February, it's in November. It's going to be on the 13th, not February 13th. I'm sorry.
Gary?
I know when you look at the last paragraph, it speaks to the submission, but I didn't know if it wouldn't be a good idea just to, I mean, we read out your phone number and extension here, just because if the general public's looking at this and they want to get a hold of you, not everybody might want to just use your email. So I just thought if we're making changes to the 6 o'clock, put your phone number and extension on there.
Is this not older than that?
No,
Okay, just so you know.
yes.
All right. You want to move it? Yeah. Okay, so Gary's moving the agenda with those changes. Seconder, Dave. Dave. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Be carried.
Aye.
All right, let me see back up to the top here. I think that's it. Is there any other business that anyone has? Just, I think before the meeting we talked about our OACA memberships. I think, was Dave the only one left? And with that, can I get a mover and a seconder for the December 11th meeting minutes? Dave, Gary, any questions or comments? All those in favor? That'll be carried. And with that, I will consider ourselves adjourned. Thank you.
Night, everyone.